Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Francis Entertainment Center, and the next stories are Shanghaied and Gary Takes a Bath. Enjoy the video. One morning, SpongeBob starts his morning off by opening a box of kelpo for breakfast, featuring one of 8 essential prizes. He pours out the whole box and searches but cannot find any prize. Suddenly, a giant anchor crashes into SpongeBob's house, which SpongeBob naively believes it to be a baby that came from the sky as a result of him opening his cereal box. He then alerts Squidward, who explains it is merely a giant anchor, while Patrick arrives to the same conclusion as SpongeBob that the anchor is a baby. Squidward ceases their idiotic talk and tells them to get lost climbing the anchor. Suddenly, the anchor shifts, crashing into Squidward's house as well. An annoyed Squidward begins climbing the anchor's rope to complain to the owner about dropping his anchor in the wrong place, with SpongeBob and Patrick following behind him. The trio find out that the anchor was dropped from the Flying Dutchman's ship. As they investigate the ship, the Flying Dutchman emerges from his cabin, terrifying Squidward. Unperturbed and oblivious, SpongeBob tells the Dutchman of Squidward's intents to complain to him, earning Squidward a scorching. The Dutchman prepares to do the same to SpongeBob and Patrick, and they attempt to jump overboard but land back on the ship every time they try. The Dutchman explains to him that for setting his foot on his ghost ship, they shall be forced to work as his ghostly crew for all eternity. Squidward proceeds to complain about this, so after scorching him many times more, the annoyed Dutchman tosses him into the Fly of Despair, a zipper-like portal leading to a chaotic dimension. Watching their screaming friend disappear in the unknown realm, SpongeBob and Patrick are frightened into submission, helping the Dutchman in his quest to terrorize the citizens of Bikini Bottom. However, the pair's idea of terror proves incompatible with the Dutchman's, so the ghost opts out of the deal and reveals to them that his attempt to hire them as his crew just isn't working out like it should. SpongeBob asks if they will be released, but the Dutchman quickly informs them that they will instead be eaten. Locked in their room, SpongeBob and Patrick's only avenue of escape is the dreaded perfume department. Surviving this ordeal, they manage to steal the Flying Dutchman's dining stock while they overheard that he cannot eat without. The Flying Dutchman catches the two as they try to escape. However, he is unable to hurt them without damaging his sock. Therefore, SpongeBob and the Dutchman begin fighting over the sock until the elastic threatens to give. The Flying Dutchman decides to grant them 3 wishes in exchange for the sock's safe return. Patrick wishes he knew about this earlier, settling the clock back 1 minute and using up the first wish. Although initially irritated, SpongeBob, in his excitement, wishes that Squidward was with them. Squidward, who managed to pass through the Fly of Despair and arrive safely home, is immediately transported back to the Dutchman's ship, wasting the second wish. The trio begins arguing over who shall get the last wish, until the Dutchman uses his mystic otherworldly powers to decide, in actuality, the eeny, meeny, miny, moe method. SpongeBob is chosen to receive the last wish, and defeats the Flying Dutchman by wishing that he would become a vegetarian. SpongeBob and the others are transported in front of a familiar-looking pineapple, but before they can celebrate, they realize that they have been turned into fruit and are now in the Flying Dutchman's blender. The 3 make their escape, but the Flying Dutchman, newly reformed hippie, continues to chase them around his newly renovated ship. SpongeBob checks the clock and realizes that it is time for Gary's bath, but the snail does not want one. SpongeBob, wary of the battle he is in for, tries various methods he learned from his family to get Gary into the tub. First, he throws a ball into the bathroom and tells Gary to fetch, but it is a boomerang pet ball, so it comes back. Next, he straps a bomb to his own chest, tells Gary that it will explode in 3 seconds if he doesn't take a bath, but Gary does not move. SpongeBob then tries to hypnotize Gary with subliminal messages, but the imagery even a freaky girl he accidentally brings up does not help. He then calls a French restaurant, but cannot understand the receiver's accent and appears to talk very fast. SpongeBob then plays leapfrog with Gary to toss him towards the bathtub. Misses and breaks Gary's shell. He then tries to bribe Gary with a dollar bill, but Mr. Krabs appears and snatches it. A dance routine and a fake treasure hunt leading to the bathtub also fail, as do his attempts to physically force Gary into the tub. Furious, SpongeBob decides that if he cannot bring Gary to the water, he will simply have to bring the water to Gary. SpongeBob absorbs all the water in the tub and tries to spray it at Gary, who swiftly dodges every shot. Outside, he corners the ladder in a tree and climbs up, unloading his ammo at what he presumes to be Gary, but realizes he only sprayed a gramophone that looks like Gary playing a record of meowing that Gary put on the tree to trick him. Gary steals SpongeBob's ladder, leaving him stuck on top of the tree, saying that he is not the boss of him, and he does not have to take orders from him as well, saying it is a free country. Gary sneaks towards a mud puddle and prepares to touch it, which SpongeBob notices. He gives him a 3-second count to get away from the puddle. However, he refuses, and accidentally causes SpongeBob to fall out of the tree into the mud himself. SpongeBob is then forced to take a bath under Gary's supervision instead.